Okay, so let's get started, guys. Uh, Once again, welcome everyone in today's session. Today, we are going to start our second module that we have in this course, where we are going to talk about the basics of Python. And in this module, we will restrict ourselves to Python and whatever AI specific or say machine learning specific Python that we need to do. That is something which we'll discuss in respective modules. Okay. Few guidelines, as I have said, like given that we have many participants, I have kept all of you on mute. Okay. And at the same time, I'll request all of you to kindly turn off your video feed because that is not something we don't need video feed for this particular course or session. Guys, am I audible? Okay. Hey guys, I'm audible to participants. So if say you feel any difficulty in audio or video, kindly check your internet connection. Okay. And yeah, once again, kindly turn off your video, everyone. Okay, cool. So let's get started. So let me set the agenda for today. Uh, Today we are going to understand, we will start our session with the different tools which we are going to be using in this course. Okay. Then I'll introduce to what programming language is. Okay. And then I'll talk about why we prefer Python in the AI world, few benefits of Python, say against other programming languages, and then we will start our discussion on basics of Python. Okay, so let's get started. Can I have a quick response? Say yes if you are aware about programming, and no if you have no programming background. Quick yes or no? Okay, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. Okay, okay. Majority I see is aware about Python, but then at the same time, we have good number of participants who are new to programming. No issues, guys. No worries. Okay. The only thing I will request to all the participants who are complete to the programming is uh, go ahead with the video. Let's go ahead with the flow, whatever we discuss in the course, and then make sure that you practice enough. Okay. The moment you practice, believe me, programming is not say a difficult task. Okay. And yes, as I said, we are going to be starting with basics. Okay? So, okay, let's get started. Now, you guys tell me, what is programming or what's a programming language? Give me your definitions, people. Okay, high level language, language to talk with machine, a language to interact with the computers. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. So let's keep it simple. When we talk about language, what's a language? Means of communication between the human being. We have multiple languages, say English, Hindi, Kannada, Tamil, Telugu, French, Malayalam, Spanish. Okay. There are so many different languages. But then task or purpose or objective of these languages is what? The per task or objective is to simply communicate, right? Similarly, when it comes to communication between machine and a human being, that is where we talk about programming languages. Okay. So the simplest definition that we can have of a programming language is that it's a means of communication between human being and the machines. So what do we do using any programming language? We human being, we simply pass on instructions to the machine using programming language. Okay. Okay. See, uh, when you work on a project, okay, uh, many a time you are going to have modules which are say overlapping in nature. What I mean by that, there are certain modules which are generic enough to be used multiple times. Say for example, when you talk about concept of addition, no matter whether you are doing addition in some cricket based program or doing some addition operation in your say e-commerce platforms, no matter wherever you are performing addition, the input and output of addition is always going to be the same. Addition is what? Where we add multiple numbers, right? So similarly, in programming, what happens is there are multiple components which are very generic in nature. Like say, if you have a file in which you have multiple data points stored, so reading of that file is going to be generic, no matter what information you have in that, okay? Or say what type of data you have in that. But then the reading part is something which is going to be very generic in nature, okay? So basically what happens is in programming language, there are multiple modules which are generic enough, and we have pre-written codes available for that. And that is what is known as library in programming terminology. Okay, or you can say programming community, we call it a library. So what is library? Collection of multiple pre-written codes which can be used multiple times. Okay. Am I clear about the library part, guys? A quick yes or no, if I'm clear about the library. Okay. Now, if we are clear about the library, say, let's talk about an AI project. Okay. A Sampath library is nothing but collection of pre-written codes, which can be used multiple times. Okay. Now, say when we talk about any AI project, what do we need? We need some data. Then in order to store that data, we need some database access. We need some programming languages. Okay. Then we need libraries also. So many a time what happens is your program is nothing but a mix of completely new codes and modules from a library, right? So in this course, as I said, we are going to be Python, right? Now, when it comes to writing these codes, what do we need? We need a platform or we need a software where we can write these codes and later compile. Okay. And that is what IDE is. So full form of IDE is interactive development environment. So what is this? This is a simple software which we are going to be using in order to write our programming codes. Okay. So in this course, we are going to be using mostly Jupyter, and then to some extent Sublime Text. Okay. And once again, what this IDE is, nothing but say a software or a tool which we are going to be using in order to write our programming, Python programming. And say if any of this is say difficult for you to understand, if you are completely new to the programming world, don't worry, just bear with me. And as we go along, things are going to be clear, because we are going to be we are going to be coding using multiple IDEs. We are going to be using multiple libraries. We will see how exactly we code in Python. What are the different components? Okay, so everything we're going to discuss. So if you find some of this difficult to connect, don't worry at all. Okay. So as I said, say if we talk about this AI project, we need a programming language. We're going to be using Python. We need multiple libraries, then interactive development environment. Okay. IDE, Jupyter, and Sublime Text. Okay. Now, let me introduce a deep learning framework. Okay. So what do we mean by deep learning framework, or say a machine learning framework? It's a tool, you can say toolkit or a framework. What is toolkit or framework? Where you get all these things together. Okay. So toolkit is what? Try to understand the two terms or two words that we have in this term. Toolkit, tool and kit. Means you get a tool, and in that tool, we are going to have all the kits, which is going to be helpful in order to complete a, say, specified task. Now, say for AI project, the toolkit that we are going to be using is Anaconda. So Anaconda is what? A machine learning or AI framework, or call it a toolkit, where once we install Anaconda, we will get access to multiple databases, we'll get programming languages, different programming languages. Then we get, say, access to multiple libraries, and we also get access to multiple IDEs. Okay. To summarize our discussion on this, yeah, Here on this slide, you see in terms of IDE, Sublime and Jupyter is what we are going to be using. Language is going to be Python and toolkit is Anaconda. So let's get started with the environment setup task. In order to install Anaconda, what you need to do is simply you search Anaconda, okay, in Google. And click on anaconda.com and you get to this page, okay? So let me share the link with all of you. And again, guys, as I have said, these videos are going to be available on YouTube, so you don't need to worry about anything. Okay. Now, the moment you are an Anaconda, go to products and then individual edition. Now, click on download. And this will redirect you to this part of the page where what you can do is you can download a relevant version of Anaconda which should fit your system architecture and the operating system. Like in my case, I'm using Windows operating system and my system architecture is 64-bit. So I will end up downloading 64-bit graphical installer. Now this is say a large file, 457 MB. So download operation is going to take some time. But then once you are downloaded, simply follow the on-screen instructions and you will basically, if you follow those instructions, it will end up installing Anaconda in your system. Okay. Now, once you are done with, say, download of Anaconda, the easiest way to verify that is simply you search for Anaconda. If you get these two options, Anaconda prompt and Anaconda navigator means you have everything installed properly. And one more thing, guys, make sure that while downloading Anaconda, you install this Python 3 point, say you download Python 3 version. Okay. By default, Anaconda page will redirect you to the Python 3.8. So that is Python 3.8. That's what I want all of you to download. Okay. Any questions till now, guys? Cool. So yeah, let's get started. Anaconda prompt and Anaconda navigator. Now, so you click on this Anaconda prompt, and once again, this Anaconda prompt is different from your command prompt. Okay, so as you can see here, what I have is Anaconda prompt, not this command prompt. So don't get confused. Okay, so let's click on Anaconda prompt. This will start in your working directory. Now, as I said, Anaconda is what? Anaconda is a toolkit where you get multiple databases, say IDEs, and then multiple libraries, right? The moment I type Python, is my screen visible, guys? And whatever I'm typing, is this readable? All of you? A quick yes or no? Okay. If it's readable, I said start Anaconda prompt and you type Python and press enter. Now, the moment you press enter, as we can see, your Python program has started. So this not only marks that okay you have Python installed properly, but then this is one by which we can verify that the moment you download Anaconda, Python gets installed. You don't need to do a separate installation for Python. So here, as you can see, which version of Python I'm using Python 3.7.1. Okay. And if you wanna exit your Python, so you can simply type exit and then opening and closing bracket, you press enter and you are out of Python environment. Okay. So now what we have done is we have verified that Anaconda prompt is installed properly. And then we also have, say, Python installed properly. Yes. Any version, I'll say Python 3, any subversion is fine. Okay. Now let's start Anaconda Navigator. So this is Anaconda Navigator. It's gonna take some time, say some 20 or 30 seconds. Mr. VV, kindly turn off your video. Okay, yeah. So this is how your Anaconda prompt will, sorry, Anaconda navigator will look like, okay? And yeah, this is where you have, say, an IDE for writing R code. No, you don't need to do anything, Ashok. Like if you are downloading these things using Anaconda, say, yeah, like the moment you download Anaconda, you don't need to worry about path settings, okay? R Studio, then we have Jupyter. As I said, the IDE which we are going to be using. So this is the Jupyter notebook. Do not get confused with Jupyter Lab. This is a different IDE. What we are going to be using is this Jupyter notebook. And so we have verified that now we have, say, Python programming installed properly. We also have, say, Jupyter notebook. Now let's check, last but not the least, the different libraries which we also get. So here, once you click on this environment, you get this list with a green tick. This simply says that, okay, you have these many libraries installed in your system. Okay. I'm not saying that what you get with default, I'll say Anaconda Navigator or Anaconda installation is going to be sufficient enough. We are going to be downloading many more libraries, but then yeah, there are multiple libraries which basically get downloaded and installed in your system the moment you download and install Anaconda. Okay. Cool. So what have we done till now? We have downloaded Anaconda. We have installed Anaconda. Using Anaconda prompt, we verified the Python and its version. And then we have also verified that Anaconda Navigator is working properly. And then we have, say, the version of, we have different libraries installed in our Anaconda environment. Okay. Any questions till now? Cool. If there are no more questions, let's get started with our IDE, Jupyter Notebook. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, no, Sarath, as I said, Python comes with Anaconda. So you don't need to do a separate installation for Python. Is that clear, Sarath? No, Akhil, you cannot download that in phone. No. Okay, guys, say if you have a system which you think is not going to be sufficient enough for AI course, say if you think you have a very pretty old system, in that case, don't worry. There is a platform, Google Colab, okay? Now this Google Colab provides you some, you'll have to create your account, and this gives you access to, say, some free GPUs, free CPUs, free memory, and then say few other components which you can use for academic purpose. And this is going to be very similar to any Jupyter notebook. Okay. Susan, you can use any editor, but then here we are going to be using Jupyter because that's one of the most used and I'll say better IDE when it comes to Python and especially AI. Okay, cool. So Google Colab. I'm also going to share this link with all of you. And it's very easy to start. You can follow multiple videos and blogs which are available out there in order to simply get started with Google Colab. Okay. Now see, the moment you start your developer life, okay, you'll have to understand clearly. It's very important that you manage your codes properly because in your developer life you're going to be writing so many codes, okay, and many a time what happens is, especially as an AI engineer, you are going to be writing codes which are going to be in research mode, and in research mode you create many files, you'll have to tweak those files, you keep on editing those things, okay. So if you have, say if you are someone who don't believe in organizing the codes, believe me, after some time it's going to be very hectic for you to simply understand or keep a track of codes that you yourself have written, okay. So what happens is, In programming or say in development world, it's always a good practice that you manage your codes properly. Okay. Okay, we have a question from Jaipal. Is it required to install libraries for collab, sir? Yes, Jaipal. There are certain libraries which are by default available out there. But then if you say there are certain libraries which you will have to download, but then the process is same. Why say whether you are coding in your local system or in your collab, more or less the operations, the syntaxes, everything is going to be same. Okay. So I was talking about code organization. So what I'll recommend or suggest all of you to do is, see, course we are going to be using or you're going to be writing multiple codes. So it's always good if you can have a dedicated directory where you can organize your codes. Okay. So say here in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a folder on desktop. So let's call it AI course 527. Okay. And here as I said, we have multiple modules. As of now, we are in basic programming. So all my basic programming codes I'm going to be writing inside this folder. Okay. So now we have created a folder. Let's see how we can end up, say, creating and saving our Python files or Jupyter files in this particular folder. So first what you need to do is, let me close Anaconda Navigator and prompt. Yes. Okay. So you start Anaconda prompt. Now, the moment you start Anaconda prompt, you can see that I'm in my working directory, which is user and Bume case chart. Okay. What I need to do, I need to navigate to the folder which I have just created on desktop. So I'm going to be using few instructions and I'll request all of you to take a note of a few commands which I'm going to be using in next few minutes. Say in this folder, Bume case jar. So let me do a visuals, say browse, and I'll do that same browse using Anaconda prompt. So as you can see, users and then Bume case jar, right? So this is where our current working directory is. Now we have desktop here. Okay. The moment I click on desktop, I get this AI goes 5 to 7. So this is where we need to navigate, right? So this is the path. User, Byomkes Jha, desktop, AI course 5 to 7, and then basic programming. Now let's try to do that same navigation using command prompt. We are in Byomkes Jha. If you want to list all the directories, folders, files inside this, the syntax for doing that is dir. The moment you do dir enter, this will list all the directories or folders which are available inside this Byomkes Jha folder. Now, as you can see, this is where we have the desktop folder. So what we are going to do, cd, okay. And okay, say if you want to clear your screen, the syntax is cls, okay. Then say if you want to navigate to or change our working directory to desktop. So syntax for doing that is cd. Cd means change directory to, after space, basically you give the folder name. So we want to change our working directory from Byomkes Jha to desktop. So you cd desktop, press enter. Now as you can see, if I type wd means present working directory, what we get is that, okay, the present working directory is C user Byomkes Jha desktop. Now let's list all the folders or the files which are available inside desktop folder. Okay, so using dir command, and here we can see that this is the folder where we are going to be storing all our files. So what we need to do, cd change directory to AI course 5 to 7. Okay, then do a dir. Now we are in the basic programming. So cd basic, press tab, and pwd. Now we are in this directory. C user Byomkes desktop AI course basic programming. Okay, and this is where we are going to be storing all our Python files specific to basic programming. Am I clear till this point, guys? Okay, so I can't share this file, but just to make sure that we are clear, I'm gonna list all the commands which I have used. dir for listing all file folders inside a directory. Okay, then you have cd is for change directory. Then we have used ewd. This is for print present working directory. Okay, cls clear screen. Yeah, so these are the different instructions that we have used. Okay, if you want to go to previous directory, then command is simple cd dot dot. Okay, so this will end up say taking you to your previous. Cool. Okay. Now, as we are in our working directory, what we are going to do is, this is where we are going to start our Jupyter notebook, the IDE. Okay. So the command to start your Jupyter notebook IDE is Jupyter notebook. Okay. So this is the syntax. The moment we press enter, you can see that first check the Anaconda prompt. This here says that, okay, your Jupyter notebook is up and it's running because you have this, say, blinking cursor. Okay. And make sure that you don't terminate this using Control C or something. And your Jupyter notebook will start in Google Chrome browser. Okay. Wait one sec. Yeah. Now say if we need to start writing a Python program, for that what you need to do is click on new, which you can see here on, okay, let me mark this. This is where you need to click. The moment you click on new, what you get is Python 3. So as we are going to be using Python 3, so click on this Python 3. This will start a new Jupyter notebook for you. And in order to rename, the moment you create a new Jupyter notebook, you will get something like this, untitled. Like when you create a new folder, always it's going to be untitled or something like that. Okay, what is the name that we get? Let me just Control Shift and new folder. Okay, so see, the moment you create new folder, what you get is new folder, the default name. Similarly, when you start a Jupyter notebook, what we get is untitled as the default name. Okay, Sampath is asking, what's the command for opening the Jupyter notebook? It's simple, Sampath. The instruction is, the command for opening the Jupyter notebook is, once you are in your working directory, Jupyter notebook. Okay, one sec, guys. Yeah. So if you want to rename your Jupyter notebook, you can click on this and say whatever name you want to have for your file, you can name this accordingly. Say, for example, let's get started with some uh, first basic Python program. Okay, let's say Python. Cool. Rename. Now you can see this is the name of your file. And what we are going to do is, Kiran, we are going to be writing our Python codes in Jupyter Notebook. So let's get started with the simple Python code. See, in Python, what happens is if you want to print something on your screen, the command to do that is print. Okay. So inside print, I'm going to print the message. Hello, everyone. Let's get started. Coding is fun if you practice. Okay. And see, the moment you want to execute this block, what you need to do is you need to press shift plus enter. Okay. What you can do is you can select your say cell, and you can also click on this run button, but then the shortcut is shift plus enter. Okay. So let me just write it here. Shift plus enter. Okay. Okay. Any questions till now, guys? Are we all clear? Okay, cool. So now we are done with the setup. Now let's get started with Python programming language. Okay. See, when we talk about any language, say for example, English, in any language, what happens is we're going to have two components. Let's call it tokens. Say in English, we have A, B, C, D till Z, and then many other tokens, right? And then we're going to have grammar. So grammar is what? The rules. Similarly, in any programming language, we're going to have multiple tokens and grammars. But then the grammars in programming language is known as syntax. Okay? Syntax. So when we talk about Python, there are multiple tokens, and the first token that we are going to discuss is variable type. Okay, so let's see what exactly is a variable and the different variable types that we have in Python. See, in your programming, when you need to store certain values or when you need to point to certain values, we use variable for that. Okay. So if you go by the English meaning of variable means what? Means values can change or it can point to any value. So variable in Python is act as placeholders for the data, assigning different data types to variable. In simple terms, what do we mean by this? That variable can store some numerical values, it can store some, say, text value, it can also store some image value, it can store, say, Boolean value like true or false, and we can have an empty variable also. Okay, but then what do we need to understand? That variable act as placeholders for the data. Say for example, let me write a pseudocode where we know in advance name of a person, mm, name of person, let's say Mr. XYZ. And then we also know age of person. Okay. Say age of person is 20. Now, say every morning around 9 a.m., we need to send this person a greeting. Say, we need to send this greeting, good morning. Okay. Now, when it comes to good morning, followed by name of the person, right? So what we are going to do is when it comes to using this name of person, we're not going to be writing Mr. XYZ again. What we can do is simply we can use this variable. Why? Because this variable is acting as a placeholder for this data. The data is what? Mr. XYZ. So good morning, you do name of person. Okay. And say if you want to print this, your output will be something like good morning, Mr. XYZ. Okay. So what do we need to understand here? That here, if this is a value, say this is a value. So this value is getting assigned to this variable. This is what? A variable. So whatever is on the left is going to be your variable. So this variable, and we have a variable name. What's the variable name? Name underscore of underscore person. And this variable is actually pointing to this value, which is mixture XYZ. Okay. So variable is what? A placeholder for different types of data in Python. Now, there are certain rules for naming a variable in Python. You cannot start a variable name with special characters except underscore. Say, for example, asterisk first name. Okay, this is what? A wrong name. Why? Because we cannot have a variable name starting with special character except underscore. Okay. But then at the same time, we can have this variable for underscore first underscore name. This is a valid variable name. Okay. Now, as I have said, variable holds what? Value. Okay. So say if we have a variable name first underscore num equal to some value, let's call it 42. So whatever is on the right of this equal to sign, this is value and this is your variable name. So a value get assigned to a variable name using this operator. And we are going to have a detailed discussion on this. But then this operator here is known as assignment operator. Okay. So as you can see, we have multiple examples here. This is variable, this is value. Miles is the variable and this is value. This is variable and this is value. And guys, again, Python is a case sensitive language. Means what? Say if we define a variable name equal to x, y, z, and then define a variable name equal to x, a, b. So here we have two variables, 1 and 2, and these two are actually different variables. Okay, these are different. Why? Because in the first one we have used lowercase n, and in the both one we have used the capital N. Okay. Now Python allows to assign single value to multiple variables. Means, say if you want to assign same value to multiple variables, like a equal to b equal to c equal to 1. So this will end up assigning 1 to variable c, the same value 1 to variable b, and the same value 1 to variable a. Now, multiple objects to multiple variables means in a single line in Python, what we can do is we can assign multiple values to multiple variables. For example, a, b, c equal to 1, 2, and say x, y, z. Okay. So as you can see on the left hand side, we have three variables, and on the right hand side, we have three values. So these values in the same sequence are going to be assigned to these variables. So 1 will be assigned to A, 2 will be assigned to B, and X, Y, Z will end up assigning to or getting assigned to C. Okay. Now I have used this multiple times till now. Say name equal to Ram. In this instruction, this is variable and this is value. And as I said, Python variable can store different types of value. So next, what we are going to understand, what are the different data types in Python. Okay, so let's get started with basic data type. In Python, we can store numerical values using two data types. One is int and the second one is float. Int is a data type which we use in order to store integers. Means, say if you have numbers like 0, 1, 2, 3, say 1000, means without decimal. We call it int data type, and that can be stored using int data type. Okay. Similarly, when it comes to float, we are going to be using float data type is where we say use decimal numbers. Say for example, 1.2. 2.16, 4.1. All these are what? Example of float data type. Okay. So the first two data types are int and float. Then comes string. Whenever we need to store, say, a text value, we rely on string data type. Say, for example, some name, Ram. And in Python, you specify that your value is of a string data type by using these double inverted commas or single inverted comma. Both are same. Okay. Then we also have a data type Boolean. Now Boolean is a data type which we use in order to store only binary values like true or false. Okay. And then last but not the least, we have a data type known as none type. Okay. So before I explain none type, let me explain what exactly happens the moment we define a variable and we try to store some value in it. And then we will discuss what is none type. Yes, none is also a keyword. See, in our system, okay, we have RAM, and then we also have, say, hard disk, right? Now, can you guys tell me what's the difference between a RAM and a hard disk? Because both of these entities are what? Memory. But then if you keep a close eye on all your system configurations that we have around us, many a time you would have noticed that laptops or any device actually comes with a very high value for hard disk, then a very low RAM. Can you guys tell me what's the difference between this? Like say in your mobile, right? You would have heard that, okay, 120 GB hard disk and 2 GB RAM. Okay, see. Whenever we execute a program, right? So hard disk is permanent, RAM is temporary. Okay. So whenever you install something, it gets installed in your hard disk and it's gonna be there till you delete it from your hard disk. But then RAM is a memory type which comes only in picture when you start executing certain programs. So now what happens is, say if you have a program one here, which you want to execute in your system, which means CPU, then P1, all the components of P1 which are helpful for execution will be transferred from hard disk to RAM. Why? Because say if CPU starts fetching this information from hard disk, this process is going to be very low. Why? Because these are storage system. The access speed is very low, or retrieval speed is very low. But in RAM, what happens is the access speed is very high. See, the speed is very high. And normally what happens is, you see, in your mobile or in your system, you're going to have multiple applications, but then rarely, actually, it's not possible to execute all of them together. Okay. That's not required at all. And that is where in RAM you have limited memory and your CPU, in order to give a very good user experience, always communicates with RAM. Okay. Now, say when we are executing a Python programming. Okay. So as the program is active, whatever variables we declare, variable are going to store certain values, and where exactly they will store? In your RAM. So every time you define a variable, say first, the moment you define a variable, it will allocate some memory, say these two blocks in your RAM. And whatever value you have, say for example, Ashok, now this value will be stored in these two cells. Okay. So be it int data type or float data type or Boolean data type or say string data type. Whenever we need to store these values, the moment we define a variable, the variable will, or the Python will end up assigning some space to this variable, right? But then there comes a data type none. So let's call it first underscore variable. And if you assign this value none to this, okay, so what type of data is this? This is none data type. So the moment Python sees a variable with none data type, it's not going to allocate any memory in the RAM. Why? Because these are the variables which we use in our programming when we need a variable, but then we don't need to use that variable, say in the beginning. Maybe later in your code, you're going to be using that variable. So there is no point in wasting your memory. That is why what happens is we define variables to increase our code readability in the beginning, but then we basically assign some value to this variable at a later stage. So till the time when we are not using that variable, this is not going to be occupying any memory in your RAM. Is this clear, guys? What is none data type? Guys, a quick yes or no, everyone. Okay. So, Ashok, as I said, whenever you assign some value to a variable, okay, so whenever you define a variable, if it is, say, int or float or string or boolean, Python will end up assigning some space in RAM to this variable, okay? Because what you need to do, you need to store some value, right? But then in case of non-data type, Python will not assign any space to this variable. Why? Because the moment we define something as none, means we are not storing value for time being. Maybe in your code later you can assign some value to this variable and then Python will assign some space. But then say the moment you are defining the variable and if the value assigned to this is non-data type, so it's not gonna assign any space in the memory. So that's what non-data type is. Is that clear, guys? Non-data type? Okay. Now, I see few of you have asked where exactly the Python Go code gets saved. Guys, don't worry, like I'm going to be discussing all those things. So let's get a slide. So we have discussed numbers, we have discussed string, then we have discussed Boolean and non-data type. So let's get started with the coding and then we will discuss other data types that we have in Python such as list, tuple and dictionary. Yes, Ashok, you can always update none value. Okay. So let's define few variables. Let's call it first number. First number equal to 879. Then say first string equal to um, Gopi Chandu. First Boolean equal to true. So what did I say about Boolean data type? Then Boolean data type is a data type which we use only to specify true or false values, right? And the only way to specify true in Python is this, where you have capital 2 followed by RUE. So if you go with something like this, okay, this is not Python Boolean true. Similarly, say if you go with all small, this is also not the valid syntax, okay? The only way to specify that is capital T followed by small RU and E. Okay, first Boolean. Then first none equal to none. And once again, the only way to specify none in Python is capital N followed by ONE. And as I have said, Python is a language which is case sensitive. So in order to execute this block, what we'll have to do? Shift plus enter. Okay. Now let's print these values. And in order to print or display something on your screen, the syntax, the predefined syntax in Python is print. Okay, and whatever you want to print, you can keep or you can define inside the opening and closing bracket. So say first number, print first string, then print first boolean, print first none. See the values. 879 is the first number, then Gopi Chandu is the first string, true is the first boolean, and none is the first underscore none. Okay. Now, if you want to verify the data types of all these, so how many variables we have decided here, guys? How many variables we have defined here? In block number 4, how many variables we have defined? Everyone? Everyone, I need this response from everyone. Now say if we want to print or verify data type of the variables that we have defined. Okay, so let's see how what we can do. Print, and in Python you have a predefined function called as type. Inside type you write your variable name. Okay, so now this will end up printing data type of this variable. Similarly, what we'll do is first string. Okay, then first boolean, print type first none. Okay, so let's check the output and let's match against the variable and the values that we have defined. So for 879, the data type is int. For Gopi, the data type is string. For true, it's boolean, and for none, it's none type. Okay. Am I clear till this point, guys? Now, a few more tips and tricks. I said that we cannot have a variable name starting with some characters. So say if I do something like this, first number equal to 678, Python will throw an error. Invalid syntax. Why? Because we have tried defining a variable name which starts with special character, which is not true. Okay. So first number equal to 678. You execute this, and as you can see, this executes without any error. Okay. So here I have defined a variable. Can you all tell me in this cell number 9, what is the variable name? Quick everyone, variable name. What's variable name? Mhm. Variable name. Variable name is first underscore test. Whatever is on the left, this is your variable name. Okay. Most of you have answered correctly, but then I also see few people saying 789. No, that's the value. This is variable name. So whatever is on the right is going to be your value. And this is variable name. And what we do? We assign value to a variable using this operator. Okay. Now, can you guys tell me what's the data type of this variable? Everyone. So we have assigned 789 to first underscore test. I'm asking what's the data type? Okay. Go ahead. I need this response from almost everyone. Okay. I see most of you have answered string, but then at the same time, we have participants saying that this is int, guys. So as I said in the beginning, the moment you have values inside double quote or a single quote, data type is going to be string. No matter what's the value inside, data type of this is going to be string. Okay, so let's verify that quickly. If I do print type first test, you see class is string. Okay, yes. And say if I change it to single quote also, no matter single quote or double quote, they are equal. They both are going to be considered as, say, identifier for string. Now, I also said that a variable name we can start with underscore. When we tried defining variable name with dollar, we got an error. But then say the moment I replace this with underscore, no error. Okay. Wait 1 sec. Yes. Is this clear, everyone? Any questions till now, guys? Before assigning a value to a variable in RAM, will every memory location be none type? No, that's going to be empty. how it is executed without in the print section. I didn't get your question, Madhavi. Ah, okay, okay. You are asking that when I executed, or say when I execute this without, say, underscore, why didn't it throw an error? Is that what is your question? Okay, so as in Jupyter, what happens is whatever variable you decide, it gets stored. Okay, so earlier we had defined a variable first underscore test, okay, with 789 as value. So that is still stored in the memory. So say if I change this value to 456, and if I print first underscore test, still this will end up printing 789. Okay, let me put this. Okay, now first you see 789. Why? Because it's still defined in the memory. But in the variable name that we have here is now underscore first test, and you get 56. Okay. Now, few more things. Someone asked, now say in later stage, can we assign some value to the variable where data type is none? Yes, of course, we can do that. Say, like first few lines, we realize that, okay, we're not going to be using this variable. Okay. But later, if you need to use that, yes, of course, we can do that. Say first, none, you assign some value to it. Say, call it anything. Say some value. Now, if I print type first none, see classes string, and if I print first none, it's going to print some value. Okay, is this clear, everyone? Cool. So if we are clear till this point, that's about the variable and the different data types and different basic data types. Okay, still we have not completed our discussion on, say, data types. Okay, few more things let me code. As I said, we can assign multiple values to multiple variables. Okay, memory allocation depends on data type. Yes. Say if you have a comma b comma b comma c equal to 1 2 3. Now if I print B. Can you guys tell me what is going to be the output if I execute cell number 23? Everyone, quick. If I execute this cell, what is going to be the output? It's going to be 2. Okay. Similarly, print A 1 and print C, it's going to be 3. At the same time, A equal to B equal to C equal to 10. Now, if you print B 10, print A 10, print C, it's going to be 10. Okay, cool. Next, we are going to discuss the different operators that we have in Python. Okay, so as of now, we have used this, right? First underscore number equal to some value 1 2, and I've always said that this is what your value, this is your variable. So whatever we have in between, this is what is called as operator, and operators are used. Okay, let's hear this definition clearly. Operators in Python we use to operate on variables and values. Simple. What is operator? Operators are something which we use in Python to operate on variables and values. Okay, okay. So guys, let's take a quick 5-minute break, and then we will start or resume our discussion on operators. Is my screen visible, guys? Okay. So yeah, let's resume our discussion on operators. So what did I say about operators? Operators are used to perform operation on variables and values. And in Python, we have different operators. The first type of, or the first family of operators that we have is arithmetic operators. Arithmetic operators are the operators which we can use for mathematical operations. See, for example, addition. For addition, you have plus. For subtraction, you have minus. For multiplication, you have this asterisk sign. For division, you have this forward slash. For power, we have this sign. And for modulus, you have this. Okay. So say if we have two variables, a equal to 2 and b equal to 2. So a plus b, okay, this will give you 4. A minus b will give you 0. A into b will give you 4. A by b will give you 1. A to the power b. This is what? This is like, say, to the power 2. So this is going to be 4. And then this is where you need to understand this modulus operator. This like remainder when you divide a by b. So say, for example, if we divide 6 by 4, this is what? This is remainder. Okay. So similarly, say if we have A2 and B2 means, and A modulo 2 means what? Remainder when we divide 2 by 2, which is 0. So this is going to be 0. Are these operators clear, sir? Guys? Cool. The next set of operators that we have in Python is comparison operators. And see, these are all very intuitive. Okay. Uh, you know, by now you would have realized that many of the components, say in Python, are very close to the way we talk in English. Okay, so Python compared with any other language is a very easy programming language, and that actually is one of the, I'll say, main reason behind popularity of popularity of Python when it comes to the AI world. Okay, like for example, comparison operators. Yes, of course, we all can understand what type of operators we are going to be doing with this. Okay, so in normal English, this is the sign which we use in order to refer equal to. But then in Python, this is assignment. And when it comes to equal to, we have this sign. So say if we have A equal to 2 and B equal to 3. So A equal to B means, is 2 equal to 3? No. So output of this is going to be false. Similarly, this sign is for not equal to. So A not equal to B. 2 not equal to B. Yes, it's true. Then this is the sign for smaller than. So A is smaller than B means 2 is smaller than B. Yes, it's true. Then we have this sign for greater than. This is going to be false. And then you have less than equal to. Is A less than or equal to? Yes, true. And this is for greater than equal to. So is A greater than equal to B? So A value is 2 and B is 3. So this is going to be false. So these are the comparison operators that we have in Python. Next, let's talk about assignment operators. So one assignment operator we have already seen. A equal to B means whatever is on the right, simply assign that to A. So say if we have something like this, so assign value of 4 to B, and whatever is the value of B, which is 4, so assign that to A. Okay. Similarly, we have few more. Say something like this. So meaning of this is, say if you have A plus equal to 4. So how can we expand this? The updated value of A is going to be current value of A plus 4. Okay. Let me write few more examples and it's going to be clear. Say if you see something like A into equal to 2 means updated value of A is current value of A into 2. Similarly, A divided by 2. So meaning of this is updated value of A is going to be A divided by 2. And so all the other mathematical operations. So say if I tell you A is equal to 2 and then we have a line A plus equal to 2. Can you guys tell me what is going to be the output? Say if I type print A. After these two lines, if I do a print A, can you tell me what is going to be the value of A? Everyone, quick. Yes, it's going to be 4. Why? Because this is value of A is going to be updated by this is statement, and current value of A is 2. So 2 plus 2 is 4. So A will be updated with 4. So value of A is going to be 4. Now, in Python, we have these logical operators where you can compare values are same or true or false. Okay. So let's get started with AND operator. So output of AND operator is true only if both the conditions are true. So say if A is true, okay, let's do this. Say if we have these two variables, A and then B. True, false, false, true, false, false, true, true. Now, what did I say about and? And operator output is going to be true only if both the conditions are true. So, true and false. In first case, what is going to be the output? False or true? It's going to be false. Why? Because one of the condition is false. And the second one, again, it's going to be false. Why? Because one condition is false. And the third one, guys, what about this? This is also going to be false. Why? Because I didn't say that both the values should be same. I said that both the operators should be true. And last but not the least, this is the only condition where we have values as true. So this is going to be true. Then comes OR operator. OR operator means output of OR operator is going to be true if at least one of the condition is true. Or say if any of the condition is true. So A, B. True, false, false, true, false, false, true, true. Now, can you guys tell me output of this? This is going to be true. Why? Because one of the condition is true. This is also true. This is false because both the conditions are false. And last but not the least, this is true. Okay. And last but not the least, the logical operator is not. And meaning of not is simply you change the Boolean value. So say not when applied on true, output is false. Not when applied on false, output is going to be true. Next, membership operators. So in Python, say if you have a collection, means you have multiple values like 1, 2, 3, A, B, and C. So can you guys tell me how many values we have in this collection? Guys, how many values we have in this collection A? 6 values, okay? Now, if you want to check whether a value is present in your collection or not, we can use this membership operator. So say for example, you have a syntax if 6 in A. So what do you want to do? We want to check here that if this value is in this collection or not. So what's going to be the output in this case? False. Okay. But then say if I modify this to if 6 not in A. Now what's going to be the output? Means now what we're going to check is 6 not in A. Means 6 should not be there in A. So this is true. So these are the two membership operators that we have in Python, in and not in. In means we want to check if a value is present or not. Not in is going to be true only if the value that you want to check should not be part of your collection. Any questions till now, guys? Cool. If there are no more questions, let's code part. We've already seen assignment operator. So let's see few basic mathematical or arithmetic operators. Let's define two variable first, num equal to 123 and second num equal to 1. Okay, let's say 31. Now print first num plus second num. So output of this is gonna be one sec. Say while printing, if you want to display a text message, that is also something which you can simply keep inside a text string. Okay. So what we are going to do is let's perform arithmetic operations. Let's check the value. First number plus second number 154. First number minus second number is 92. First number into second number is 3813, and first number divided by second number is 3.96. Okay. Now let's check few comparison operators. Print equal to equal to. One sec. Yeah. Not equal to, then say this is less than, this is greater than, this is equal to, and this is greater than equal to. Now, can you guys tell me the moment I execute this block, I'm gonna get say 6 outputs. So can you guys tell me what of like these 6? What is gonna be the sequence? Like which one is true and which one is false? You can ping your answer in sequence. Okay, let me print this answer. You can match your sequence with the output and let me know if yours is correct. Simply ping correct, and say if yours is not matching with the output, you can ping incorrect. Yeah, so this is the output. False, true, false, true, false, true. Quick, everyone, correct, incorrect. I just want to see. Everyone. See, if your answer matched with the output here, you can ping correct. If it didn't match, you can ping incorrect. Okay, that's great. Which output? I see Gangaraju Tupati saying output explain, sir. What exactly you want me to explain in output, Gangaraju? Say why this is true? Is this what you want me to explain? Okay, see here. In cell number 30, we have defined two variables. The value of first number is 123 and the second number is 31. Okay. 123 and 31. Now, what is this operator? Equal to or comparison operator. Now, is 123 equal to 31? Gangaraju? No, right? So that's why we have the output false. Then this sign is for not equal to, means we are trying to check whether 123, is it equal to 31? No. And that's what we are saying, that first number 123 is not equal to 31. So we have true. Then we have first number 123 less than second number 31. Is that true? 123 less than 31. Is that true? No, right? So you have false. Then you have 123 greater than 31. True. First number less than equal to 123. It's less than, not even equal to 31. So this is also going to be false. First number, is it greater than? Yes. So it's going to be true. So that's why we have this output. Okay. Cool. Now say here if I define two variables a equal to 2 and b equal to 3. Now say if I print A, can you guys tell me what is going to be the output? Okay, let's check. See, we have defined value of A equal to 2. And then in the next line, what we have done is A plus equal to 2 means A equal to current value of A plus 2. And current value of A is 2. After this line, A is going to be 2 plus 2, which is 4. Now let's come to this line. This line value of A is 4. So A equal to A into 2. And the value of A is 4. So 4 into 2 is 8. So once I print A here, the output that we'll get is A plus equal to 2, A into equal to 2 once. Okay, it's because I executed this multiple times. Okay, one sec. Okay. That's one problem with Jupyter. Let me define a new variable here, say C equal to 2, and next line C plus equal to 2, and print C. You have 4. The output 12 that you see here is because I have executed this multiple times. Okay. But then here, is this clear? Is this clear, guys? Block 40 and 41. Okay. Now, last but not the least, let's check our membership operator. Let's define a list here with multiple values, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And then say few other values. Now say if A in A. Now can you guys tell me what is, no. If 1 in A. Can you guys tell me what's going to be the output? Let's check that. If 1 in A, print present, else print absent. Okay. Similarly, say if you want to simply do it in one line, you can do print 1 in A. Okay. Like if you find it difficult to understand, do not worry. We have not yet discussed conditional statements. Okay. So print 1 in A. This is going to be true. Now, can you guys tell me if I do this, if A in A, what is going to be the output of this? Okay, or let me modify this to B. Print B in A. What's going to be the output of this? Guys, Madhavi is saying true, laser true. Quick, everyone. I need this response from maximum. True. Okay. I'm asking output of the highlighted code here, which is in cell number 47. Okay, Bhargavi is saying error, okay, and I see many of you saying false. Guys, A is false. You know why? Because see, this is where you'll have to be very careful. We have already defined B variable somewhere, okay? So it's there in the memory. In this block, we have defined the value of B, right? And is 3. Hey, this should be true, right? Print 3 in A is true. Let me print the value of B here to check. Okay, B is 0. Why? Because here we executed B equal to B minus 3. Okay. So This is where we will have to understand that Python is an interpreter language. What do we mean by this? No, Amila, I didn't mean string B. That was a variable B. So in Python, execution always happens line by line. Okay. So say line one, say if you have multiple lines in your code, so execution always happens in Python line by line. So whatever you have executed, say previously, that is also going to be stored in the memory. Okay. And this B here, this B, say if I replace this with B, this B is not string B, this is a variable B. Okay. And say if I modify this to now string B, can you guys tell me what is going to be the output? Quick, everyone. It's going to be quick, true. Why? Because this is string B. And say if I modify this to single quote, now still true. Why? Because no matter double quote or single quote, that means string B. Okay. And last but not the least, let's check this not in. Say print 7 not in A. What is going to be the output of this? Given that value of A is 1, 2, 3, 4, numerical value, and string A, string B. What's going to be the output of this? It's going to be true. Why? Because 7 numerical value is not in A. Okay. Srinivas, say, wait for few more sessions. Okay, we are going to be discussing everything. Okay, let's not jump. Let's go one by one and see. I understand that many of you are already aware about programming or Python, so you might find it very easy or very basic. But then we'll have to respect the fact that we have many learners who are completely new to the programming. Okay, so let's go in sequence and slowly we will increase the complexity. Okay, so yep, so we discussed arithmetic operators, comparison operators, assignment operators, logical operators, and membership operators. Okay. So let's wrap up today's discussion with this. Before I start the Q&A session, I'll request all of you to mark your attendance. Mr. Vineet has already shared the attendance link. So guys, make sure that you mark your attendance because if I'm not wrong, in order to get the certificate, you will have to ensure that your attendance is 85% or more. Okay. Mr. Vineet or Tarun, can you please share the attendance link? I see many participants are still asking for the attendance link. Okay, yeah, so guys, you can find the attendance link in the chat box. Make sure you mark your attendance and we will start our Q&A in 2 minutes. Okay, let's get started with the Q&A session, guys. We have first question from Suresh. Only Python is used for AI? No, Suresh, we can use many languages, but then Python is one of the most used language when it comes to AI. Like I have seen 90 or 95% of the people or organization, if they are in AI, using Python. Because of predefined libraries, there are multiple regions, Suresh. Okay, there are multiple regions which contributes to popularity of Python in AI. Let's wait for a few more sessions, and actually basics of Python I'll conclude with the reason behind popularity of, I'll say, Python in AI. Okay. uh, Kari Dinesh is asking Java versus Python, which one is more secure for web development? Dinesh, I'm not the best person to answer that. Is it possible to go Jupyter Notebook by clicking icon? Hey guys, one more thing which I to showcase here. Say we have created, even though this code is in, say, opening in browser, doesn't mean this is on some web page. No, let's go and check the folder which we created in the beginning, AI course and basic programming. The moment you click on this, this is where you can find your code. First basic Python code, and what we have named our file. Okay, so this is going to be in that same folder. I'm learning Python and Geeks for Geeks. Is it better, or please suggest me, sir? Charan, that's sufficient. At least to the basics Python, that's going to be sufficient. And whatever we discuss here is also going to be sufficient. And AI specific Python, as I said, we are going to be discussing in the course. Any GitHub link? No, not exactly. How much time it's going to take to master in Python? Kiran, it's all about practice. Okay, make sure that you are practicing whatever we are discussing, and that is sufficient enough. Kari Dinesh, is AI only through Python? You can use many languages, but then as I have said, Python is the most used and easiest programming language. Anything else, guys? Any other question? Here we're learning Python for web development or data science. For AI, Suresh, this course is all about AI, not for web development. Per day, how much time you would recommend for us to practice sincerely? Sudhir, if you are completely new to programming, on a daily basis, 1 hour to 1.5 hour, max 2 hours is going to be sufficient enough. Means 2 hour practice time. Okay, not the time where you sit with your laptop and you watch something else. When to use single code and double code? You can use any, either single code or double code is completely fine. Can we get any internship opportunity after this training? Yes, of course. You practice all these things very well. You also say acquire this, whatever we are discussing in the class. Then of course there are multiple companies with internship offers which you can apply to. Bracket after print is mandatory. Yes, it's mandatory. Share syllabus, Ravani. As I have said, by end of this week we are going to be sharing the detailed agenda. Whatever code and data set we will use, that is going to be shared with the participants. How much Python is required for this course? Whatever we discuss in this, that's going to be sufficient enough. Will we cover Django? No. Because Python is interpreted programming language, because execution happens line by line. Are we going to discuss Excel? No. We are going to be using CSV files, which are very similar to Excel. But then we are not going to have a very detailed discussion on Excel where, say, we discuss about different operations in Excel or how to draw a graph. No. AI subset of data science? Yes. Practically, more or less, they are same. I'm from mechanical background. I'm eligible. Reddy, we have already discussed these things in the inaugural session, right? So please go and watch that video where we have discussed these things in detail. Uh, in short, like if I need to give you a short answer, yes, of course you are eligible if you can acquire all these things. Uh, I directly downloaded Python without Anaconda and also done path setting, but Jupyter not reflecting. Ashok, that's going to be very tricky. So what I'll request you to do is uninstall Python and simply download Anaconda, because we have just getting started. Okay. And we are going to be downloading many more libraries. And if you do that using Anaconda, that is going to save, I'll say, many unavoidable issues for you. Please let me know the very next step in installation after installing the Anaconda. See, once you install the Anaconda, you can check using Anaconda prompt, and say Anaconda Navigator, if they are installed properly or not. And guys, as I have said, whatever we have discussed today is going to be available on video, right? So available on YouTube. So later when you are done with your installation, you can go ahead and check the YouTube video and make sure that whatever I used today is getting executed properly or not. Hey, Sindhu, there are multiple databases which can be used in AI. Like there is no, I'll say, limitation as such that only SQL or SQL we can use. Sairam, I'm not the best person to answer that. Please check with the management. I'm using Python idle cell. Is it enough to learn Python? Chandra, I'll not recommend that. I'll recommend at least you have Jupyter. Homework for tomorrow's session, there's nothing as such. Sudhir. Suresh, again, please go and check the video, the inaugural video that we had, the first video of this session. I have discussed about data science, machine learning, AI, everything. AI and machine learning, both topics covered in this session? Mostly, yes. In this course, yeah. Anything else, guys? Nice explanation. Thanks, Ashok. Yes, you can go to, you can start Jupyter Notebook from Anaconda, but then that is something which I'll not recommend. Statistics and probability mandatory for this course? Not mandatory. Okay, we are going to have a brief discussion in this course. Are we going to be discussing databases regarding to AI in this course? No. Naga Srisha, we have a YouTube channel where you can find all these videos and many participants that share the YouTube link. Can any one of you please share the YouTube link once again? Got much stuff, eagerly waiting for more stuff. Sir, stay tuned, Sriram. We are going to be discussing many other important and exciting topics in this course. Okay? I'm new to Python and could not understand anything in my college, but it is somewhat clear today. This session exactly what I'm looking for. Thank you, sir. Hey, thanks, Lavanya. Great to hear that. Could you give reason for not recommending? Jaipal, what happens is when you start Jupyter from your Anaconda prompt, it's always going to start in your default, I'll say, or root directory, right? And from there, you'll have to navigate to the dedicated directory. So that's the reason I said. And as we proceed, and especially when we start talking about deep learning, there inside Anaconda, we are going to be creating multiple environments, okay? And there we'll have to start environment-specific Jupyter. So it's good if we start that practice, or say if we develop that habit from now, so that by the time we start discussing the deep learning things, you'll have the right habits of starting Jupyter from different environments, okay? There is no harm in starting Jupyter from your Anaconda prompt, but then later, of course, you'll have to start uh, using Jupyter, or say you'll have to learn starting Jupyter from your Anaconda prompt also. Okay. Is that okay, Jaipal? Great, Vaishnavi. Like as I said, this is a request to all the participants. Simply make sure that you follow all the videos that we have, and that's going to be sufficient enough. Sir, Jupyter just for learning purpose? No. When it comes to AI, that is again one of the most used IDE for research purpose. When it comes to writing production level code, you can use Sublime, you can use PyCharm or any other IDE. Okay, so don't worry about that, guys. Cool. So if there are no more questions, that's it for today. See you all tomorrow, same time, 5 to 7. Bye bye, guys. No, Sindhu, we're not going to be using Java in this.